I want you to take a look at this photo. Now, you see a couple Russian soldiers here. Actually, two of them are internationals that I used to call friends. The interesting part about this is I found this in an article from Russian media speaking about this guy's experience on the Russian front line. And it didn't take much digging to go and find out that they were operating in the same area at the same time that my friend Arnie was fighting at, usually with drones. Now, most of the drone footage I've shared on my channel from Arnie comes from this location, including this video that I put out, which became viral. And there's a lot of people, especially Russian sympathizers, who had a very strong problem with this video, showing Russian soldiers get injured, having to spend the night underneath a destroyed tank of theirs, and then wake up that morning, some more drone bombs, an assault comes, and they're eventually killed by a grenade. And throughout the entire video, I tried to make it my #1 goal, and you feel like you don't really have an option other than death. There's always the surrender hotline that you can call. You can always raise your hands and walk forward, and you can be saved. Now, one of the problems with that is that Russia is publicly saying they are not willing to trade some Mariupol defenders from 2 years ago for these guys who surrender. And there's a lot of them who are stuck in captivity for a very long time. But what I'm about to share today is going to explain a lot of what you saw in those videos. One thing that's especially clear in that video, but also pretty much all the other videos, is that the Russians do not feel comfortable running back to the rear line, despite the scenario that they're in. There's no overhead concealment or cover, except for destroyed tanks, and then even then they're assaulted. It's a hopeless situation. You can see how they were just sent out there. It's really brutal. Now, I have a reason for that I was able to find out from that article, as well as some personal accounts. I'm not going to get into names or specifics, but those two friends of mine from the past weren't in a typical unit, a typical Russian unit. I think they were at some point. But at the time, where they were only a couple kilometers away from Arnie dropping these drone bombs on these guys, doing assaults, they were part of a private military company. Their job was very specific, which they stated in the Russian media, on their own account. They were part of a blocking unit. And we've heard about this before, there's been rumors about it, and I'm here to show you the proof and why those guys died in the front line, having to spend the night in the winter underneath a Russian tank with no sleeping bag or anything, so they brought out the emergency blanket to keep themselves from going into hypothermia. And those guys died because there was a blocking unit, maybe on the second or third line right behind them, with two of my friends in it, whose jobs are to kill those people if they retreat. That is what a blocking unit is, and it should leave a bad taste in your mouth if you're Ukrainian or Russian. People are being sent to certain demise, as you see in my videos, no matter if they have the moral convictions to go and invade Ukraine for some reason. It doesn't matter who they are, what they're fighting for, they're being sent there, and they cannot return. It's either you survive or you die. And in most cases, they die. From all around the front line, I'm hearing plenty of accounts, not only from students, but also my friends. They're saying the Russians are sending in waves. And we see this all over the news. We see it on drone videos where, 20 Russian tanks destroyed in Avdiivka. What did they gain? A couple hundred meters, maybe. And then they lose it the next day. And if they were to turn back and retreat, they're going to be shot by some well-paid PMC. And this is what I want to say in this video. My videos are constantly being twisted into Russian media to go and portray a light on Ukrainian soldiers as being ruthless and they're just out for blood, they hate Russians. And look, this is an invasion of their homes that we're talking about. And when you throw meat at them and you tell them if they turn back, they're going to get shot, it's going to be the most brutal warfare you're ever going to experience. And you can't blame the Ukrainian defenders for having to act the way that they do. Killing is a part of war, and killing is not clean. There's no electric chair out there. There's no lethal injection. There's gruesome wounds where people have to lay in the dirt for 2 hours until they bleed out. There's hypothermia, there's hyperthermia when it gets summertime. But anyway, this video's purpose is just to show proof of these blocking units. They exist, and when you hear stories of these Russian Zerg rushes that are coming in, everybody gets wiped out, or maybe they take a trench line, but everybody ends up getting killed by cluster bombs or something. Yeah, this is what's happening. There are blocking units paid a lot of money in order to stay in the third line to go and shoot these people. And this wasn't the only occasion. This was also happening in Bakhmut with these same two guys. And the accounts that I have from Bakhmut, especially from drone operators who would call an artillery strike, they die. The next morning they see somebody pick up their own shovel, no weapon or anything, and they dig. Oh my God, what's happening right now in Donetsk? These are personal accounts. These are things that, hey, you have no proof except for what I'm telling you. But I'm being told by multiple units that in these Zerg rushes of 100 Russians, 30 Russians, whatever it is, some of them don't even have weapons. Some of them don't have proper gear. They're just going forward like you would picture Stalingrad. So yeah, I just want to mention this. This is the proof that I have, and also the anecdotal evidence. You can put it all together, and this is a reality of the war in Ukraine. This is the reality of what the Russian army has become. It's pretty pathetic, and the surrender hotline is always there. No matter how many times that the Russians say they don't want their people back, they just want the war to end, there will come a time for a prisoner exchange, and you have that chance. Better than dying of having a frag thrown on your head underneath a tank because you can't run away because you'll be shot by your own guys. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hope you learned something. Thanks to the members as well. I threw out this video idea to you guys about a week ago. You guys gave me some good feedback and I was able to get this video out. And yeah, really appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.